The most engaging, impactful, informative, and entertaining talk show ever. Get ready to hear the voices of many local, state, and national artists, musicians, comedians, pastors, athletes, and politicians. It's time for South Florida Live with Jeffrey Brown. The most engaging, impactful, informative, and entertaining talk show ever. Get ready to hear the voices of many local, state, and national artists, musicians, comedians, pastors, athletes, and politicians. It's time for South Florida Live with Jeffrey Brown. The most engaging, impactful, informative, and entertaining talk show ever. Get ready to hear the voices of many local, state, and national artists, musicians, comedians, pastors, athletes, and politicians. It's time for South Florida Live with Jeffrey Brown. The most engaging, impactful, informative, and entertaining talk show ever. Get ready to hear the voices of many local, state, and national artists, musicians, comedians, pastors, athletes, and politicians. It's time for South Florida Live with Jeffrey Brown.
Well, good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone. And welcome to the South Florida Live Podcast. I'm your host, Jeffrey Brown. And I know it's been a while. So we are back live on this evening, on this Monday evening. And listen, this is the day that the Lord has made. We shall rejoice and be glad in it. Listen, I wish everyone had experienced peace and blessings on today, either at home, at work, whatever that you did, all your activities, whatever activity you were a part of today. I hope you experienced peace and blessings, and I hope your day was very productive. Hey, welcome back. I know we've been doing a few replays lately on Monday. But hey, we are back, and we are back with one of my special guests, the Right Reverend Elder Shirley Brown. She's a chaplain, Shirley Brown, Elder Shirley Brown, Faith Elder Shirley Brown. She's all that, y'all. She's joining us on this evening. So, hey, come on. Hey, guess what? We are gonna talk. We are talking. What is men? Is this month is Men Health Awareness Month? Men Health Awareness Month, and we're gonna talk about the brothers today. So come on, sisters. Good evening, Calvin B. Okay. Hey, good evening, Ms. Winston. God bless you. Peace and blessings. So we're going to talk about the brothers. We're going to have some. Hey, listen, I have some stats of some things that I pulled up about our brothers. Wow, it is amazing. But hey, we're going to talk about it. Elder Brown, she's going to come on. She's going to help us with this. She's going to give us some insight, some tips, and some ideas of what we should do, what we shouldn't do, and how we should do better as black men or men, period. Hey, listen, once again, those that are viewing by Facebook, hey, come on, join us on this evening. Go ahead and like and share. Go ahead and like and share for me, and tag a few people. Let them know that the South Florida Live podcast is on. Hey, listen, if you're viewing and you know some men that may benefit from this conversation, hey, go ahead and tag those men on tonight and let them know to join us on this evening. We're going to have a conversation about men awareness, this men health awareness. Also, it's also Alzheimer's awareness month. Also, that's an area topic, man. I have so much familiar with that. So we're gonna get in some of that too on this evening, if you will. Okay. So come on, join us, share with us. Hope those out there. Thank you, Ms. Winston, for tagging people. We appreciate that. Thank you. God bless you. Um, so come on, those of viewing us by YouTube, thank you for viewing us by YouTube. If it's your first time viewing us by YouTube, do me a favor, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. And once you do that, there's a bell, hit the notification bell and click on all. That way you'll be notified every time we go live. Thank you. Would you do that for me? Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Come on, guys. Good evening to everyone. Once again, I always say when I say good evening, I was taught when I say, when someone say good evening to you, you're supposed to say good evening back. So good evening to those that are coming on, those that are viewing. Thank you for coming on. Yes, we are talking Men Health Awareness Month and Alzheimer's Awareness Month with Elder Shirley Brown. So guys, come on, tune in. Come on, join us. We're not going to be on long. We're going to give you about 30. We're going to give you another minute before we get started. Another minute, another minute. Thank you so much for those that are joining. Thank you so much for those that are joining. Appreciate you. All right, 30 seconds. Those that are joining us, thank you for joining us on this evening. Welcome to the South Florida Live Podcast. With me, I'm your host, Jeffrey Brown, and thank you for joining us. Appreciate it. We're going to have a conversation on this evening. I know this one won't attract a lot of people, but we need to talk about it, brothers. We need to talk about it. All right, 10 seconds. All right, those that are viewing, come on, give me some love, give me some hearts. Let me know you're there. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for being with us on tonight. Being with us on tonight. Oh, okay. Maybe it's me. All right. Thank you. Hey, listen, we're going to get this party started with the one and only uh, Elder Chaplain. She's here. She's ready to join us on this evening. My sister, God bless you. Thank you for joining me on this evening. God bless you. God bless you. How are you this evening?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me on this June Awareness Month for Dementia Awareness, Brain Awareness, and Men's Health Awareness Month. Thank you so much. I'm
All
honored
right.
to
No,
join
thank
you
you for.
tonight. We haven't been together for a minute.
Yes, it's been a minute. You've been busy. You've been, got two grand for me. So you
Oh
been
no,
away.
not at all. Not at all. Not at all.
You got 2 grand for me. You had left me alone. Ain't got time for me. But no, no, thank you so much, my sister. Thank you for joining us, joining me when I reached out to you. You brought
Hmm.
this topic up about men health, and I mean men health awareness, also men mental health awareness, also all in one this month. And that's something that we definitely need to discuss and need to keep out in the forefront for our brothers,
Right.
because it is true. It is true by some of the stats, some of the percentages that brothers do not like to go to their
The
yearly checkup.
doctor.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So y'all listen, June is National Men Health Month, a
Hmm.
time to remind men of the health issues they face and what they can do to take charge of their health. Y'all, don't you know, we're gonna probably get into it, because I know this thing is for. I know it's for a fact that men are significantly less likely than women to see doctors
Right.
or report symptoms to a health care provider.
Hmm.
It says, Doc, and you can talk on this, Elder. You can talk on this. Only 60% of men go to the doctor for a yearly.
Right.
Go to the doctor for a yearly routine checkup, and
Hmm.
40% won't go until something is seriously wrong.
Oh, exactly. When they're feeling sick.
When they're feeling sick, when
Right.
it's just at the last, and you're down and
Hmm.
out, and none of your little remedies working,
Right.
um, then we, Doc, can we just jump right there? I know I'm a guy. I'm a man. You probably studied or whatever. Why is that? Why is that? Would do you know, have any idea or insight of why it's like that with us?
I have no. I always say, like you said, women tend to take better care of their health. I think with men, from my experience, when I used to organize health fairs and give away free screenings, elder, free screenings of
Wow.
diabetes, to check for their heart health. Even we used to do PSA test for the prostate. We used to do all these free screenings. Men will not come and get screened. I will ask them, plead with them. Even men in my church, they'll say things like, I'm all right, I'm good. You know how they do it? I'm all right.
Yeah.
I'm good. I don't know why it is they don't take serious their health or make an appointment. Most men don't have a PCP. Most women do, which is a primary care physician.
Right.
And to go and book an appointment for annual checkup, you can't get that from them. And I don't know what my experience is. I just think a lot of them feel it's not necessary because they feel healthy. But a lot of them don't eat healthy. Okay, don't take care of their mental health. And so
Mm,
you find, even in the mental health section, that it's more men that suffer with mental health
mm,
than women. So those are the things, and they eat really, really unhealthy, tend to eat on the run, don't not eat the nutritious foods.
mm-hmm.
The other is they don't exercise.
Mm,
They don't exercise as they should. They tend to, how we say the old word, couch potatoes. uh,
right.
Women tend to go shopping. We walk around more, even though that's not good exercise either, but we tend to be on the move more. Men tend to be more sedentary. And so and then taking essential nutrients and vitamins. I know my brothers, I used to have to push them to take a multivitamin every day. I used to tell them, the foods we're eating are not necessarily nutritional anymore, and you have to take supplements. So they tend not to take those. I remember my brother, I sent him calcium because he kept having these body aches, and I says, Listen, we women, when we're menopausing, we have calcium deficiency, potassium deficiency, and then we go and get those supplements. We start taking them. Men get them too, but they're just not aware, and they wonder why they're having all these aches and pains. So I started giving, and he called me, says, "You know, sis, those things really made a difference. I'm not getting those pains anymore." I said, "Bingo, that's what it was." You need to take your calcium supplements, potassium supplements, other minerals,
Yeah.
and just take a vitamin, a multivitamin. You hear about one a day for men, one a day for women. Those
Right.
are good. Just take one a
Right.
day, and it
Right.
helps. It helps us because
Right.
all of us are aging.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you touched on somewhat that I'm correct me if I'm wrong. This is just my mindset, my thoughts on it. That men think there's some men that think that women go to the doctors like they're supposed to and like they do because they say, well, women have more to be concerned about with their health than we do, and that's not true. That's
Well,
not
in the
true.
early years, it
What are
was.
some of the
In,
areas of men that we have, just as the women have, that we need to be concerned about when it comes to our health?
oh my goodness, the blood levels. Everyone. That's why I said we offered free screenings to check for diabetes. If you have high blood sugar, high blood pressure, that's a big one that men have because a lot of them are under a lot of stress. They have more anxiety than we do, just living in this society.
Mm,
Feeling trapped, being denied jobs. They rather give a black woman a job than a black man. Those sort of experiences that other men may not experience, they experience it. And so because of that, I think they don't manage their stress right, and um, they start eating the wrong foods, and
mhm,
sometimes engage in deviant behaviors, like they drink more alcohol. They tend to take more alcohol. They tend to, how should I say, uh, access substance
mhm,
abuse more than women. They tend to
mm.
smoke more, and all those things affect your health. They think it doesn't. You talk to a brother man, he said, "Oh, weed is good for you because it's a herb and God put it here for us." No, the herbs they have now is laced with fentanyl, it's laced with formaldehyde, and it's causing, I see it every day coming into trauma, is causing a lot of gastrointestinal problems that men didn't count on. Okay. And so they have perforated, how you call it, intestines, they
Mhm.
get ulcers because of the kind of lifestyle that they carry on with.
Now, could a lot of these symptoms from men, could this stuff could have been created and started developing when we were younger,
Of course.
teenagers? Because what is the age that we need to be more aware and concerned about and get started on being very focused on our health in the areas that we need to concentrate, like like with women, we talk about breast cancer. It's just strong, but that's just not a woman's um illness or disease. That's a man disease as well,
Of course,
and
I
it's
had a
very
guy
high, right?
last week came in here. He's 47 years old. He's dying of breast cancer. He has breast cancer just like a woman. Okay.
Right.
Um, and so we have that going on. So those cancers are no respect of persons. I tell them, whether it's brain cancer, breast cancer. Of course, women get ovarian cancer, men will get prostate cancer. That's the difference. People also get bladder cancer. But if we don't take care of our intestine, that's the system. Think about your system just like how we have garbage, and
Hmm.
they have to take it up every week and take it to the recycling plant, and do what they do with the recycle. We recycle stuff that we put in our system every day, elder.
Stop right
And-
there. Stop
okay.
right there. Stop right there. No, I'm because I have this conversation quite often with people that feel they can just eat in. That's fine,
Right,
but you got
right,
to take care of your intestine. We're talking
exactly. Hmm.
cleansing. So repeat that what you said if you remember what you said, because I want people to hear that how important it is for you to take care of your intestines.
Right. And so we have to take care of our intestines, drink more water instead of soda. Again, healthy choices. We drink too much soda. All of it is carbonate, and we drink soda with our foods, which is not healthy. So you're eating a burger and you're drinking a Coke. Guess what happened to that food when it goes down,
Mm,
mixed with the carbonation? It sits there and ferments in your stomach, and that's what causes a lot of stomach infections and things like what do you call it, infections and inflammation, which
inflammation.
people get a lot. So you'll hear somebody say, and then they'll pop a Tums or a Rolaids that they have stomach acid or heartburn or something. But that's because of what you just ate and what you ate with it.
Hmm.
So the best thing for us to do is just drink plain water. They said warm water is better than cold water, because if you're eating foods with a lot of fats and you drink cold water or a cold drink behind it, you ever seen, you leave something on the stove and how it gels? The oil just sits there and it
Hmm.
gels like gelatin. That's the same thing it does in your arteries,
Wow.
because now it's cooled off in the
Right.
pan and you can see the oil just get thick. The same thing happens in your arteries when you drink cold water after you eat your hot food. And if that food, like if you eat French fries, say it was cooked in oil, and they don't cook it in good oil. They're not using extra virgin olive oil in
Olive
McDonald's.
oil.
They're
Mhm.
using the Crisco. That big old vat you see, to take
If they're
the white
using that.
stuff, they dump it in there and it melts into oil and looks like oil, but that's Crisco. That's we used to call it back in the day lard. And it's full of polyunsaturated fats, and
Right.
that's what messes us up, our whole system, because
Right.
it's what we're eating, and fast food is cooked with unhealthy ingredients and
But Doc,
condiments.
you don't get those. What do you say to those that have that flip response that, oh well, that's how we, it was, we ate like that back then, and if nothing was going on with us back then, so why all of a sudden we got to stop doing this and stop eating this and stop cutting back from this, and we can't eat crackling bread, we can't eat that stuff anymore. Wow, well, that's what we did. We can't eat hot sausages as much as we used to eat hot sausages every day when we were a kid, when we were younger.
Number one, the foods back then were not made with the preservatives they're made now. We have larger populations, and to move foods along the food chain, they put a lot of preservatives in the food for it to last. They call it shelf life, for it to last, to get from point A, from Alaska to Florida, say,
Mm,
for instance. So they put all the preservatives, we cannot even pronounce them, some of them you see on the package. Okay. Number two, our families, that the families, the generation we came from, elder, they worked harder. Some of them didn't own transportation. They walked more. They did
mhm,
they did more laborious work, hard labor. You know what I'm saying? It was not no behind the desk labor, sitting all day. They worked. Either our parents worked as teachers, you stood. Even if you worked as a domestic, you was always moving. You had to go catch the bus, or you walk or you run. So they were moving. So the foods they ate, it was able to be absorbed better, and how also digest better. Okay, because the kind of lifestyle they had. But we have car legs now. Everybody have a car.
mhm.
Nobody
Right,
walks anywhere.
right,
Even to get to
right,
the grocery store,
right,
we fight
right,
for the closest parking.
right,
I park
right,
way ahead so I can walk, and
right,
walk a little bit and get a little bit in. When I come to work, I take the 4 flights of stairs up to the 4 tower,
right,
instead of taking the elevator. So do something during the day to help yourself, to build that cardio. But we don't build any cardio. And then all day long, we eat, 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 eat. Every minute, it seems like every 2 hours we eat, and that's not a good thing.
right.
We're eating more often, and everything now is super
Hmm.
size. Look at the size plates we had growing up. Look at the size. Everything is super size
Super
now.
size.
Super
Yeah,
size
yeah.
drinks, super size meals. No, no, we didn't. Our parents didn't eat like that. No, and everything was cooked fresh. We baked our own breads. Okay,
Mm.
I don't to this day I don't eat what we call shop bread. I don't eat Wonder Bread and those
I
kind
don't
of
eat
things.
bread
I
at all.
will refuse to. We were talking. My nieces, they just moved over here from St. Martin. They said, "Auntie, we don't eat that bread. We used to get fresh bread from the bakery every
Right.
morning." You know, so it's how you eat. It's how you
Now,
eat.
I don't consume bread. I try and stay away from
Right.
bread as much as possible. Is that okay, or you have to have a piece of bread every now and then? But is it okay not to have any bread? Because
It's
I don't do
okay not to
bread or
have any
rice.
bread at all. Me too. I don't eat bread or rice. I try to cut back. Lately, I've been going through. What I like is croissants, and they're the worst because they're full of butter. But I don't eat any bread. It's plus I have a gluten allergy because it's full of gluten. And
Hmm.
if you're gonna eat bread, eat multigrain bread, not the white bread. Anything white, white sugar, white bread, white flour, white rice is not good for you. It has absolutely no nutritional value. All it does is drive up your blood sugar.
Right.
And
I'm gonna ask you this question. So after we're saying all this, and you're pointing out the things that as men we need to be careful of what we eat, what
right,
we intake, and how we should take care of our intestines. So why is the morality rate um higher for men than women? I
again, it's based on they don't take care of themselves. They don't
because
go to
I,
the
yeah,
doctor. When
because I see something here. I'm sorry. I see something. It said, I wrote it down. It said the overall morality rate is 41% higher for men than
hmm
women. And
hmm
it's higher for men for 8 out of 10 leading causes of death, including
hmm
heart disease, cancer, strokes, and diabetes.
because those are the ones, again, that's back to the blood levels. I told you we gave out free at the thing to check for diabetes, for heart disease, okay, and for stroke, okay, and those are diseases that a lot of our black men come in with, and those symptoms you don't see them till it's too late. So if you don't go get annual checkups, okay, and check your labs, you just run a lab to see how am I doing, just like how we check our temperature. If you go to triage, they'll check it. If you got a cold, you check your temperature, see if you
Mhm.
spike in a fever. So it's the same thing. Every year, you should at least twice a year run your labs, check your blood sugar, check your blood pressure. So a lot of men get heart attack. You either have a ischemic attack, which is the one from the heart, which is a heart attack, or you
Mhm.
have what we call a hemorrhagic attack, which is the brain, the aneurysm. All of them
Mm.
has to do with plaque in the blood vessels that build up, form clots, and you have a heart attack or brain attack, which is a stroke.
And you say
And
plaque
that's what
comes
most of
and
our
plaque and you say plaque comes from what now?
polyunsaturated fats, eating fatty foods, fried foods, and not enough fiber in your diet, not enough vegetables. I'm teaching my nephews now. They're here. He just a meat and potatoes man. I can't see nothing green on that plate, and I'm telling him. And the other day, he was backed up so bad, and I told him. He called me, said, "Auntie, what am I gonna do? I can't go to the bathroom." I said, "You're not eating enough fiber." He won't eat cereals. He won't eat whole grains. He just loves rice and meat and potatoes. He is a meat person. Give him any kind of meat. He loves ribs, chicken. That's how he eats. And I says, you have to have fiber in your diet.
So a lot of these traits and a lot of this stuff can um
Be
kind of
prevented.
yeah, it can be prevented. But
hmm
I try and tell people, myself too. It started with me some years back, when I started getting away from red meats and
hmm
all that stuff, and things that, because I saw my family members popping pills, high blood pressure,
Yeah,
diabetes, and all
yeah.
that stuff. And I'm
hmm
like, I'm not popping pills. I want to stop early. Not saying I may not be the healthiest guy, but I'm leave trying to put an effort into it. And sometimes that's all we have to do, basically, is try and be committed more as men, committed to what we eat and how we eat. Even
That's
to the point, even if our wife or spouse or whatever is cooking certain foods, we gotta. I mean, do we let it be known like, hey, babe, I don't want to eat this. I'm trying to back away
absolutely,
from that. Don't
absolutely.
don't purchase this stuff anymore,
Hmm.
or that might cause a rift in the
No, I mean,
in the
no, I'm a
relationship.
vegetarian. If I had to marry somebody that's a meat eater, I'll have to draw some boundaries, you know. First of all, I don't even cook meat and stuff like that. 40 years now, I'm vegetarian. But I tell like today I had a salad, a really nice salad with beets. It had chickpeas in it. It had carrots,
Mm,
onions. I mean, that's this kind of salad I eat. That is good. That's good roughage. We need roughage. Your body need those type of nutrition. You see that meat. It's some meats like pork takes 2 to 3 days to
right,
digest
to
in your
digest.
stomach.
Right,
A
right.
steak takes 2 to 3 days to digest in your stomach. So think about it, and then they drink it with Coke or something. That thing is sitting there fermenting. It's not good. We
Oh,
doing our whole digestive system. I tell people, garbage in, you're gonna get garbage. Our body's not
wow,
a garbage dump.
right. So, Doc, I hear you saying about. I know you're a veggie. What diet? What can you give, say, to a man, to us men that don't want to go veggie, but we want to eat better? We
Lean,
want to do
lean meat.
better. What
Lean
are
meat.
some of the meats? If we want meats, what are some of the meats we can eat? And what are some of the vegetables and areas that we should be more concerned of and have more in our intake than we normally do?
Well, I mentioned to men lean meats. The older you get, some of the heavier meats like the steak, ribeye, that kind of stuff, and rack ribs and all that. That stuff is heavy. You notice when men are eating that, you see they're sweating a lot when they're eating. They break out into a sweat. You ever been there? Watch guys in a restaurant trying to, handle a rack of ribs. They start sweating. It because it puts so much. It takes so much energy to digest that
Mhm.
food. The older you get,
Right.
because just as women menopause, men do too. Also, we call it andropause. Of course, we don't talk about those things. So as you get older, your body cannot handle too many heavy foods. So leaner meats, you can take leaner steak, um, half the size.
Mhm.
Do you need a 12-ounce steak? You can maybe eat 6 or 7 ounces,
Right.
or just have some today and later on this afternoon. You don't have to eat the whole meal. Again, and also portion sizes. It don't have to be super size.
Right.
Why you think we have itis when we finish eating and the person fall? That's the energy. The body's pulling that energy just to absorb and digest that food.
But now, is there a process that you have to start at? You just can't. I mean, it's like going totally cold turkey for I don't for most men that's just like with workouts. If you try and start hard in, you're gonna eventually get sore and you're not gonna want to go back no more. So is there like a process you start at a
You know
certain
what?
amount and then work your way? Now this I want to ask you this. I want to ask you this. You keep saying you're saying lean meats. Now anybody that knows me, they know I love lamb chops. That's probably the only red meat that I'm going to eat.
And that's a
Now,
good meat. It's
give
not.
me
That's a good
okay.
meat.
So that is okay.
Yeah.
Okay. The intake of that is okay, and from
Yeah.
what I studied and heard, it doesn't stay in the intestines too long.
Right. That's a good meat. Why I'm so hard on steaks and pork and all that, especially steaks, because nowadays you know what they're doing to the cows. They're shooting them with
Right.
antibiotics. They're shooting them with different growth hormones and
Right.
things. And this is what is causing a lot of the cancers, elder. Okay. The doctors know it, but they just train to treat symptoms. If you're going to look at the root cause of many, many illnesses, it's because a lot of it is food. Food is our medicine. You know, Dr. Jawanza Kunjufu, pastor had him to come to the church years ago. He wrote that book, Satan and I'm Taking My House Back. He talks about the fork being a weapon of mass destruction in Africa and the American community, because it's what we're putting in our mouths, what we eating every day is what's creating health problems.
Wow. Yeah.
But God gave us food. Food is our medicine. We
Right.
shouldn't even have to take a vitamin a day if you're eating healthy foods
Okay.
every day.
Mhm.
I'm
Wow.
juicing. Like, I don't really like beets. I ate them today, but somebody made me a beet and carrot juice on Sunday and brought it to church for me. A nice what do you call it, smoothie.
Not doing beats. Mm.
Yeah, that me too. But I
No.
ate it today. It wasn't too bad. But I had beet juice yesterday. Beet juice with carrots. You
God
know.
bless you. God
Yeah,
bless you,
but that
baby.
stuff
God
is,
bless you.
listen, when you drink that stuff, your stomach is saying, "Oh, I love you.
Yeah,
I'm
I
committed."
know. I know. I'll do the carrot and I'll do the carrot and that stuff, but the beet, no, I can't do it. I tried it.
See, all
I
of us
tried it
have,
and I can't. I
me
can't
is
do it.
okra, and okra is very good for you. Okra, especially people that tend to
Oh.
constipate, if you eat okra in your food, the psyllium in it is what helps give you the fiber. So you asked me what kind of food. So beans are good. Beans are
Mhm.
good. Here you go to Pollo Tropical, they love to serve black beans. I don't eat black beans. I might eat chickpeas, kidney beans, and what we call pigeon peas in the Caribbean, pigeon peas and rice.
Mhm.
Okay, and I'll cook it with brown rice, or I'll cook it with quinoa. Quinoa is the best substitutes for rice because it has all the minerals that you can think of in quinoa. Okay, and
Right.
when you cook it just like you cook rice, and it don't take that long to eat. But we just have to kind of reprogram ourselves, elder, to start eating healthy and looking at food. But we grew up with all this soul food. Why do we cook our greens with ham hocks, with turkey bones? It's not necessary.
Right.
It's not
Now,
necessary to cook our foods with all these things.
no. I put some smoked turkey in my stuff in a heartbeat.
Yeah, see
Um,
that?
yeah, I'm not. Yeah, I'm like really. I'm like the pork and red meats. I shy away from it. I run from
Yeah.
it, and I can tell if somebody have it in their
Mm.
greens because my stomach just don't.
I can't process
It
it.
alarms me. It
Yeah.
alarms me.
Yeah.
It
The
alarms
other
me.
thing is, why do we eat bread with our food? A lot of us eat like cornbread with our food, or a roll. They eat the roll with the butter in it with our foods. Those are traditional cultural ways of eating. There's no reason, but it's not just here in Africa we do it. Even in the Eastern Bloc countries, my girlfriend lives in Morocco now. She just retired there, and she said, "Shirley, they eat bread with everything." She said, "Bread is like king over here. People eat bread
Mm,
like crazy. They eat it with everything, but especially with their foods,
wow.
major meals,
Wow.
bread
Mm,
has to be there,
wow.
So those are cultural
Yeah,
habits.
those are culture habits. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's stuff that you grew up on. I don't have to have,
Yes.
cornbread and whatever. That's me. That's just
Right.
me. Everybody's not like that.
Right.
So now going through this with men with the morality rate high, that's a sure path of going to pushing a man or pushing men right into depression.
Well, they struggle with more things than we do. Women tend to struggle more with development, raising children. That was, I want to mention why they have health care, because they have to have prenatal care if they're having children. They have to go to the doctor, check their blood levels, because, they can mess up the pregnancy. So those are things that they have to do. So they will tend to check more with their doctors and take care of themselves. And we kind of tend to carry the burden more of society, but with men, they have a totally different experience. It starts with childhood trauma. It could be coming out of abusive home, a broken home, bullying in school. Kids, men, male, young boys tend to be receive more bullying than maybe girls. Um, and then they grow up. They go to college. The racism and discrimination that they suffer, they come out. They have hopes and dreams, and they can't find a job. Don't care how much credentials they have,
Right.
just because of the color of their skin. They're always seen as a threat in corporate America, or they rather give the job to a woman or even a white woman over a black man. So they always say, you put a white woman, a black woman, and a black man applying for the same job, who you think gonna get that job?
Right.
Okay,
Right.
sometimes that person don't even qualify, but the people feel more, how should I say, comfortable around people that they don't feel a threat. And because men carry a lot of stigmas, black men. And so those are the things that I think they carry around with, and it's a burden to them that sometimes lead to and they're extra stress that leads to the mental health problems that they have, and then end up committing suicide. Because we also see that black men, the third leading cause of death in black men is not heart disease and diabetes, but suicide.
Yeah. Because even going into depression, pushing depression can also push you into bad eating habits.
Oh
That's
yes,
why I asked
the
that
comfort,
question.
yes,
Yeah.
comfort eating
Yeah.
and the drinking, and the
Right.
drinking.
That's why I asked that question, because I know I experienced that when my mom, after my mother passed,
Mm-hmm.
and did not know it was going on until I started having anxiety attacks.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't because my mom had passed. It was at the point, coming to find out, talking to a therapist, that it was because I was dealing with had lost both parents and being at a place I've never been before.
Mm-hmm.
So, and not me knowing, I started eating a
Yeah.
little more than normal and wasn't paying attention to it, did not see the signs, didn't pay attention to it until I had started having anxiety attacks.
Yes.
And that I paid attention to, because I know that definitely wasn't normal for me.
Yes.
So,
And
so
that's a great example that you just use, how it's easily to go down that path, how grief affects your health to begin with. And if we start comfort eating and eating the wrong foods, to comfort ourselves, we really comforting ourselves because we just don't want to deal with the pain, and so we comforting ourselves, or the substance abuse, and you unknowingly eating all this stuff, and unknowingly your blood pressure is going up, your glucose is going, and you have no idea till something happens. You have a catastrophic illness hit you, and you're like, where did this come from? But you don't even realize it came from eating food, not sleeping well, the stress you're under, you're depressed, and
yeah.
all these other things. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Because because we men sometimes tend to deal with grieving a little different than probably women or anyone else,
yes.
because we gotta be strong for everybody, and I literally wasn't trying to do that, but you
Mm-hmm.
gotta be strong for everybody, and
Mm-hmm.
show that you okay, and
Mm-hmm.
whatnot, and before you know it, you're in a place where you're at and don't know. And one thing about men, we're not seeking to go get help. We're not seeking
No,
for that thing, because
unfortunately.
we've been raised, and
Mm-hmm.
as men, you don't cry, you toughen it out, you don't need that. And then the stigma about, if you go sit on somebody's couch and be honest, and I tell people honestly, it is something wrong with you mentally.
And
So
it's okay to look for support, even
yeah,
if you
and
join
and
a
it
support
and it's
program
and you
or
are,
talk to
something is wrong
somebody.
with you mentally.
Hmm.
That's why you need to seek somebody that
Yes.
can help you,
Hmm.
and be able to talk to you, because that's that stigma that men have, that we really don't open up. And I often tell people, you at least have to have somebody, that
Hmm.
one somebody who you can talk to, that one somebody who you can
Absolutely.
drop
Yes.
everything off and load, and they don't mind you dumping and sharing stuff with them. And sometimes it's not always we're looking for answers, sometimes it's just a listening ear.
Hmm. Or some people just bury themselves in their work, or start doing stuff that out of character, instead of talking about it, like you said.
Yeah, yeah. Now, someone posted, they said, is too much seafood not good? They were told it's high in fat and it can cause gout as well.
Yes, absolutely. Seafood has a lot of acid and certain ingredients in seafood that's why sometimes people get allergic reaction to seafood, and then say a meat. because seafood has so many chemicals in it. And sometimes people don't know how to cook seafood well or clean
Mhm.
it well before they serve it. So you tend to pass on, especially now what's going on in these waters out here. So much mercury in the water, more diesel in the water because of all the cruise ships. That's the same water they fishing in to get fish for
Mhm.
us, deep sea fish. Depends on what kind of fish you like. And then there are certain fish that is really tend to be poisonous if you don't know, like grouper.
Right.
I tell people never eat a whole grouper with the head on it, because that's the fish that swim alongside boats and they suck on the bottom of the boat.
Now you tell me this, Doc. Now you tell me.
Yes, they do.
Now you tell me
Nephew
this.
is a neurologist. He taught me all of this because he
Now
treated
you
a lot
tell
of
me this.
people with grouper poisoning, and
I love
sometimes they
grouper.
pass out and they have neurological complications, and they didn't realize it's just simple a fish that they ate, because that fish is a scavenger fish and it swim alongside the boat, and they tend to stick onto the boat, their mouth, something like a guppy, and they
Hmm.
stick on, they take all that junk from the boat. And so they say, cut the head off and do not eat it. Eat it more like a fillet.
Mm.
So, especially the strawberry grouper, you got to be very good. Now, me, I can eat snapper, but I can eat the yellowtail. Do you know I cannot eat the red one? It will give me allergic reaction.
The redfish. Oh,
The
the red.
red snapper
Oh, red
does.
snapper.
Yeah, I
Mm.
can eat the yellowtail, not the red.
Yeah.
So you got to know your
So
body, how it
yeah,
reacts
yeah.
to certain things.
Well,
Seafood, yes, can be poisonous. I can
well,
eat shrimp. Last time I eat shrimp was 2009 in San Francisco. I had a complete allergic reaction to the shrimp. And I
well.
was on Fisherman's Wharf, the place to eat seafood. Had
Yeah,
a bad
yeah,
reaction to,
yeah,
to, to shrimp.
yeah. But
Yeah.
my thing is that I that's I know God answered prayers, because that is my prayer, that God uh blocks all of that stuff, gout and fat and all that,
Yeah.
when it comes to
Yeah.
seafood, because I am a seafood eater. I'm just telling it like it is. If anybody know me, it's seafood. I've been eat it every day, all day, if I
Wow.
could.
Wow.
I know I have common sense not to eat too much of it, but I
But
can
like,
eat
do you
seafood
eat
all
like
night.
squid? Do you eat
I
crab? Do you eat
didn't I just say I'm a
all of
seafood.
it?
Didn't I just say I'm a seafood lover? I'll eat squid, karma, all that,
Mm-mm.
octopus, you name it, mussels. I'm gonna eat it all.
Now I can't eat none of the shellfish. That includes crab, lobster.
I'm gonna eat your part for you.
Yes,
I'll eat
please.
your part for you.
And listen, I wish I could, because I love shrimp. When I go out like the Red Lobster with my family and they eating those prawns, the coconut. I mean, it smells so good. I want to eat one, and I do like my girlfriend. Then you take one and you start to put it to your mouth. You just remember the allergic reaction I had. I put it back. You know,
Yeah. Now this we're gonna hit this area. Wow.
dementia. You want to talk a little bit about?
Yeah, yeah. Because a lot of that, I mean, I've I went through that with my mother, and some family members, and how can you? I just for those that are surround the family members, not actually those that are experienced, but those family members, um, of that don't notice it, and those that do notice it, but they're having a hard time um dealing with it and accepting it. What do you say to them?
You have to be patient. We just had this yesterday. A very close family member of mine. I love her. Traveling, and her dementia's getting worse, and that's because she drinks with it.
Oh.
So the more that person is a drinker of wine, hard liquor, it creates what we call AMS, altered mental states. So in people that are already having cognitive challenges such as early dementia, memory loss, whatever behaviors you see they're displaying, impaired judgment, they need to stay away from alcohol. Number two, the family needs to be on a heightened awareness to watch their behavior. Okay, so the daughter went out that night and left the mother in the apartment. And when she came back home, she thought she was asleep. She never checked the bedroom. When she got up in the morning to tell her to come, get dressed to go to church, she went in the room, was not slept in, bed made just like it was the day before, and she was missing. Now
Mm.
they're in a hotel. She have no idea where the mom is. They had to pull the CCT camera to find out she left the hotel 4 o'clock in the morning. No, God knows where she went.
Wow.
She's now wandering. So it took them 12 hours yesterday with police help, getting her picture to all the patrol. Good thing she's on a little island, not in America, because a lot of times people wander and they're never found. And
Right.
they were able to find her 12 hours later sitting in a park because she's lost. She went wandering.
Right. Right.
So
Yeah.
these are the behaviors that we need to pay attention to.
Yeah.
Impaired judgment. This person should not. Last month she tore up her car and she was driving the car and didn't even realize that she had ran over something. The wheel was flat. She was driving on the rims and the police pulled her over
Wow.
and took the keys and drove her home. They realized something was going on
Something was right.
cognitively. Yeah.
Right.
So little things like that, and sometimes you see family, laughing about it, because sometimes the people that are having those issues, listen, let me tell you, they have a way they finesse it.
Hmm.
You'll try to tell them, why aren't you doing so and so, auntie, or why aren't you doing so and so, grandma? They'll tell you, who are you talking to? I'm fine. They always feel
Right.
they're fine.
Right.
And
Right.
I like my freedom. I can still drive. And they tell themselves they
Mhm.
can do these things
Wow.
and they can't anymore.
Yeah, because my dad, my we experienced that with my father, my dad, when he was going through his health issues, and we didn't, I didn't know it. I ended up staying there at the house, and um, I was got up one night. Some told
Mm-hmm.
me to get up, got up and went in his room. He wasn't there, like the young lady. He wasn't there, and I'm frantically going around the house, and went to the back door, and he's literally sitting on the back door step, out, just the door open, just sitting down at the step. And I'm like, Dad, what are you doing? He doesn't know how he got there. He doesn't
Right.
remember how he got there.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a moment for me. And I'm like, okay, maybe it's the medication, maybe it's
Mm-hmm.
the something that's going on. I'm thinking medication until some days later. I stayed over there, and I locked the house up, but somehow he was able to even get out the house.
Oh, yeah.
And how I got woken by a police officer flashing his
Mm-hmm.
light in the window and tapping on the window. And I got up. I'm like, wow, what are police doing here? And they asked me, do I know who he is? And I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, I know who he is. I'm like, that's my dad. He
Mm-hmm.
had got out the house and wandered in
Okay.
the neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, some lady that knew my dad, knew where he lived, called the police right away
Mm-hmm.
and had them to bring him back. So after that, I locked the door down.
Right.
And then we found out that that's something that he was dealing
Yes.
with. It wasn't a medication.
Mm-hmm.
It was that he had started um, uh, getting some of those areas, those
And she
diagnoses,
had no
and
sense of
yeah,
time. Her whole
yeah,
thing was, well, I was going to the seamstress to see if she had finished my dress 4 o'clock in the morning, And
right,
the security said she did come by there and came downstairs and asked for a key. Now she had her key, but she don't remember. But
right.
anyway, be that as it may, but sometimes dementia comes with stroke. Say the person had they call it a TIA
Mhm.
or a slight stroke. That will cause dementia in the brain, start them down that road. Or they had some vascular disease, or they had a traumatic brain injury. Simple thing, falling down the stairs, hitting your head, or having a car accident, hitting your head, you had a traumatic brain injury and they treat you in the hospital, but nobody followed up on your brain to see how it's doing. You
Mhm.
had swelling on the brain, you're going to have some kind of change up in there.
Right.
And most of the time, if the person is in their 50s or 60s, you can watch for something start going on. And
Mm.
my brother mentioned that he had noticed one of our family members, that was the same one we were talking about years ago. I said, well, I never noticed it. He said, I noticed it 'cause I work with those people. He
Yeah.
works in a residential facility with
Yeah.
people with memory problems. So,
Yeah. Because my mom experienced it too before she had her stroke.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
She experienced it too because my mother called me.
mm-hmm,
She called me one day and just kind of went in on me
mm-hmm,
about some seasoning
mm-hmm.
that she said that she had told me to pick up from the store, and we never had the conversation. And my mom, she said some things to me, um like, boy, stop playing, don't play with me, don't play with me, I told, and I'm like, whoa, wait a minute, no, we actually didn't have this conversation.
Right.
And so I called my aunts, which is her sisters, and I told them would they pay attention more to her conversation, and they did. Long story short, they come find out that she was starting to experience it
Yeah.
herself.
Yeah.
um
Language is one of the first indication, I want to say symptom or sign, that something is going on.
right.
What they're saying, then all of a sudden, you see the person always doing the same thing every day. They're going to the
Mhm.
drawers, pulling out the clothes, folding it, pulling it back. And it's
Right.
like they counting. I had a lady, she was every day she used to count her bras and count her underwear.
Mm.
And she would, when she finished, she'd say, so and so stole this and so stole that. Nobody had taken anything.
Mm. Yeah,
Um,
so that there's some signs that those loved ones that surround and
mhm,
caretakers or whoever
mhm,
can pay attention to, and when it's happening, it's happening.
yeah.
And I think my dad at that time, before he started getting ill, because she took ill before he did,
Mhm.
and he noticed it, but he really didn't want to come to reality. That's
No,
why I
they
said a lot of
don't.
times they want to come to reality
No.
of something's going on with their loved one, with their who's close to them, the wife or whoever. And we have to, I believe, from my past experience, we have to be real about it and accept the reality, even though we don't want to accept that reality.
Especially the children, because spouses are the worst to
Yeah.
say, to detect it, or say, like you say, how your dad didn't want to, or your mom didn't want to, realize it was your dad going through something. It's easy to do. Spouses, I remember I went with my big mouth and mentioned to a spouse how his wife was behaving, and I was noticing it at church. And I
Wow.
gave her a ride home and told him he needed to check on her. And I don't know what he did. He must have called her daughter in California. A lady called me and laid me out, Jeff. Who am I to say these things about her mom? Now, she hadn't seen her in months. But just
Mm.
the fact, I was just trying to put him on heightened alert to watch her,
Mhm. Right.
especially around things like, stove.
Right.
People putting the fire. If you have a gas stove, things like that, you have
Right.
to be really, really careful once that impairment and the judgments start. And definitely, they don't need to be behind behind the
The
wheel.
car.
And
Yeah.
the things my
Transportation.
nephew
Yeah.
said,
Behind it.
every week people come in for him to sign letters to take to the DMV for their loved ones not to get their license,
Right.
renewed.
Right.
Because if you take away the keys, they fight you. They
Right.
fight you tooth and nail.
Mhm. But I even think my mom noticed it. She knew it
Mhm,
before she had her stroke. She knew it because she was a driver, and all of
mhm.
a sudden she stopped driving.
Okay.
So I don't know if she experienced a moment where she was out and she lost her bearings or where she
Mhm.
was, and she couldn't remember how to get back, and she luckily, thank God she made it back home, and it probably scared her at that time, so she stopped driving. So but like I say, as loved ones, siblings, spouses,
Mhm.
when it comes to that, I believe we have to really pay attention, because I was really trying to tell everyone that something was going on with mom. I didn't know until later on. And my dad finally came out with the truth about it,
Mm-hmm.
because he would call me and ask me what I was cooking. And I was like, man, I'm cooking such and such. Okay. I said, why? You want me to bring? He would want me to bring him some. Come to find out that my mom was cooking, but she was forgetting that she had put food in the oven.
Yeah.
See, he knew that.
Mm-hmm.
And so he knew
And
something
to watch stuff
wasn't
like
quite
that.
right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But he just did not know how to deal with it, did not know how to handle it, and did not know where to go
Okay. Okay.
to talk to anyone that's concerned in that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I could tell you some really horrible stories, but the thing is, cognitive issues is a progressive decline, and it affects memory function, and of course it impacts the person's daily life. Because yesterday the lady was saying her mom, she said she hadn't bathed, she hadn't combed her hair, that kind of stuff. They forget to do things. So you really have to start thinking for them in terms of their activities of daily living. Did you have the breakfast? They'll say, yes, I had my breakfast, but they didn't have it. Did you take your medication? They'll say, yes, but they didn't take it. Next
Right.
thing you know, they might have had a heart attack because they forget to take their medication every day, for, especially if it's to regulate something like blood
Mhm.
pressure,
Yeah. Yeah,
So you
because
have to
it
think for
reminds
that
me.
person the whole day, every day.
Yeah, because it reminds me of that movie, when the family that prays, um,
Mm-hmm.
and the lady, she began to get, she noticed that she was forgetting things, and she
Mm-hmm.
noticed stuff was going on, and she would write stuff down and put stuff, little reminders all
Yeah,
over the
those
house.
little sticky
Yeah,
notes. You see, most people that
remind.
start having they
Yeah.
write sticky notes is everywhere in the house.
But the sad part about it, the child, the sibling, not
Mm-hmm.
the sibling, the child did not know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah. They did not notice it, and it
Mm-hmm.
was clear. It was clear. A friend, even her close friend, didn't even notice it until later on.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something I say, as those that have loved ones, and you notice that. I'm For me, don't reality is reality. Deal with it.
It's
Find
like
some
what
way.
happened to my cousin in 2015. The Lord sent me out to Arizona. He kept telling me she's in a health crisis, and I went there. And I just about got there in time for them not to foreclose her house, because she was having cognitive challenges and just forgot to pay her bills. Not that
Mhm.
she had plenty of money in the bank, but did not. Her husband used to pay the bills. He had Alzheimer's, and he's much older than her. She's now starting to get cognitive, and she keeps telling me, I don't know why he won't do this and he won't do that. And I wanted to say to her, don't you see your husband has
Right.
Alzheimer's?
Yeah.
He didn't remember to eat, to bathe, and she was still expecting him to
To
pay the bills,
do
to
what he
walk the
normally does.
dog, all the things that he used to do.
Wow.
Okay. And she was still expecting. I had to go in there, and it took me 3 days, but on the third day I finally had to go in on her, because
You
first
got
I
up.
came and I had to observe.
Yeah.
I didn't want to jump in the fire too quick, but they need help. And I had to
Yeah.
start calling all those people and paying the bills and telling them why, and disconnecting the insurance on the car. She's still paying insurance on her husband's car. He hasn't driven it in
He
three
ain't
years.
driving it. No
3 years.
sense. No
And
sense in doing
paying
that.
the insurance on it.
Yeah.
Some things were on auto pay. Now on these people, you have to put everything on auto pay.
Yeah.
Everything on auto pay, because this is how people start scamming them too.
All right. Hey, y'all. You've been locked into the South Florida Live podcast, with your host, Jeffrey Brown, and my special guest here, Elder Shirley Brown, with me. We have been discussing, talking about men health
Help.
awareness month this month, and also dementia, Alzheimer's, and that area. It's also that awareness month. And hey, listen, those thank you, Doc, for just pointing out and sharing light on some of the questions that I presented. Now, there's some things I don't know if you're free on next Monday, but there's something that I did bring up. I want to talk about. I want to talk about when it comes to men. I don't know if you're gonna be okay of talking about some of this stuff. But you're the doctor. You're the professional.
I don't know
So
what
you
kind
can do
of
it.
which prostate
No.
cancer?
Well,
You talk
prostate. I
about
really want to dabble into prostate cancer and the
prostate
other
cancer.
stuff that affects men.
Mhm.
That not able to do certain things anymore, how that affects them and push them and motivate and take them to a place where they're like, just not themselves anymore. But anyway,
Mhm.
we that's some of the stuff we want to talk about next Monday. If you're available, let me know. We're gonna talk about it. Thank you, appreciate
You're
it.
welcome. I could also ask one of the lady urologists to help you out to next
Okay.
one. I'll see.
Okay,
But
let's
other on
talk
my
about
end,
it. Let's talk about it. Let's talk
we'll
about it.
just use the metaphors of the car. You know how you should use them.
Yeah, stop it. Yeah. Hey, listen. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Peace
You're
and
welcome.
blessings to you. And we will talk again. Hey, y'all, you've been locked into the South Florida Live podcast. I'm your host, Jeffrey Brown. Thank you for everyone that tuned in. Hopefully you guys learned something, got something. Ladies, I see a lot of ladies out there tuned in. If you know these guys, you know these men, share this with them. Share this podcast with them. Share this episode with them, and give them some answers that you receive on this evening, because the brothers are going through. They are going through, and they don't like to deal with certain things. So anyway, God bless you. God keep you. Thank you once again. If you guys want to be a support to this podcast, you got the information right there. You can hit us Cash App, Power of Glory 777, Power of Glory 777, or Jeffrey Brown 2094 at gmail.com. Jeffrey Brown, JEFFE. RY Brown 2094 at gmail.com. If you like to be a blessing, you like to support this podcast. Thank you so much for watching us. Thank you for viewing us. We'll be back on Wednesday. We got the singles edition. Don't miss it. Don't miss it. We got the singles edition on Wednesday, and we also have an episode after that. Let's talk about the things that matter. We are talking that political stuff, and we want to talk about that man that got them 34 counts. So we're going to talk about that on next Wednesday, so you don't want to miss that. Hey, listen, it's been real. Love you. Hey, I'll pray for you. You pray for me. Listen, y'all, let's watch God change things. God bless you.
Email your idea for show topics to the South Florida Live Show at gmail.com. Thank you for tuning in to South Florida Live with your host, Jeffrey Brown.